Hey everyone! In this video we're going to be covering the top 5 issues that you're most likely to run into when crocheting. So the number one problem I would say is probably tension. A lot of the time people's tension just isn't right and it destroys the whole project. So I just crocheted a couple of chains. And what I'm about to do here is what you run into sometimes, where your loops are just too big and they're not all the same size, and the tension isn't proper and it just messes things up. So these loops are all too big. And then I'm going to do a couple of tight ones here to show you what that looks like. So these are your super tight ones. They're not the right tension and it's just too tight to be working with. So now I'm going to show you how to properly crochet a chain. So what you want to do is you want to make sure that each one of your loops are the exact same size and that your tension is correct. It's not too tight, it's not too loose, it's like just in the middle. So another problem you're going to run into is the tension when you're working through your rows. You don't want to make your stitches way too big because if they're too loose, then your project isn't going to lay right, it's not going to look right, and it's going to be very hard to follow a pattern with. So now I'm going to do a couple of tight stitches to show you what that looks like, because it's also not correct, and if your stitches are too small, you're not going to be able to find your holes correctly. So now I'm going to show you how to create a proper stitch. You don't want your stitches to be too big or too tight, you want them to be right in the middle, one like even size, and you want to make your loops about the same size as they were with the chain. So another common issue is that people often skip the last stitch because it can be harder to see, which will turn your work into a triangle, so you don't want to do that. So just make sure that at the end of each round you're getting the very last stitch, even though it can be hard. The second row can be very difficult because it can be kind of awkward to hold. So you want to be sure to be going under 2 loops and over 1 like you can see here. Then you're going to just keep crocheting like normal and keep your tension right. So the last problem is that people sometimes put their hook under 1 loop instead of 2. And you don't want to do that because it'll mess up your work. So what you want to do is you want to make sure that you're putting your hook underneath 2 loops for every stitch. You should be able to see the holes pretty clearly, but if you can't, just remember it goes underneath 2 loops and not 1. That's it for this tutorial. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this was helpful to you, and please remember to like and subscribe.